All right. What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for joining me with Buzzing with Marlowe, our live edition. I am not going to disappoint y'all once again. Today, we are joined with Nigel Butler. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's the
Good.
weekday.
Yeah.
Can't complain about it. Can't complain about it. Nice little Tuesday night. Definitely not bad.
For
So,
sure.
tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I'm an actor first and foremost, but as of a year ago, my brother and I opened up a media production company, and basically what we do is we make film, TV shows, some music videos. We're working on some podcasts, things like that. Actually, I don't do the
Mm-hmm.
podcasts; that's my brother's thing. But we just do things media, and we're hoping to grow and expand into some other areas. But basically, we're just a media production company, and
Mm-hmm.
with a focus on film, I would say, film and TV.
Okay. Hey, man. So, I gotta know all these cool little traits, man. Like, is this something that you've always wanted to do, or is this something just fall in your hands?
Oh, always wanted to do it. I don't think, I think that we as people make a lot of our own opportunities. I mean, I doubt for you, someone walked up and said, "Hey, you want to do your own podcast?" No, you made your own opportunity. You figured out how you're going to do it. You started it. You know what I mean? You do that for yourself.
Yeah.
So, and no discredit to anyone who helps out. Of course, there are always people who help you out, and we're very grateful to those people. But yeah, this is something we always wanted to do. And really, how it started was, like I said, I'm an actor and I love acting and I love
Mm-hmm.
sitcoms. So I wrote a sitcom that was untitled at the time, but now it's called Problems Higher Up. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, uh, we wanted to make it, and we couldn't really get a studio to produce it. Obviously, with the stage we were at, we didn't really have a whole lot of credits to our name that were of a professional level. I mean, other than stuff you make in school, and that's great,
Mm-hmm.
making content in school, but anybody you ever pitch it to is going to know that that was required of you and not something you went out and did on your own. So it doesn't really show
Yeah.
that you're a real go getter or that you take it seriously. It shows that you wanted that piece of
Mm-hmm.
paper, And I mean, I, like I know random people I know people who go to school for random things and they have acting classes. You know what I mean? But that's just because they
Mm-hmm.
needed those electives. So I wouldn't say that
Right.
something you do in school alone is a great portfolio builder. It can help for sure,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you take it seriously. But I don't think that'll get it done. So anyway, I digress. Basically, we decided that the best way to get the show done the way we wanted to do it at the level we were at would be to do it ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing led to another, and now we have a limited liability company, and we're playing the game, I guess, as they say. You know what I mean? So we got our show out. It's on Amazon Prime streaming and Tubi TV. Problems Higher Up, and we just kind of we loved it and we grew from there. So that's where we're at, and that's how it happened. It didn't just fall into our arms, but we kind of embraced it as it came along, each new step and each new thing.
So what school did you graduate from? And
So I have got a communications degree at Finger Lakes Community
mm-hmm.
College. It's a community college, great school, loved it there. I like going there.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't gone back for my bachelor's yet. I've gotten caught up in things like this, and I'm pursuing a lot more acting right now. But that's taken up a lot of my time. I would like to go back eventually, but I don't want to go back and not know what to go for. Whether I want to go for a business degree or a uh, acting degree or something along those lines. You know what I mean? So I just kind of want to be more sure of that before I pursue that any further. But yeah, that's a school I went to, and they provided a lot of great opportunities
Okay.
because they had
That's pretty
a
cool.
ton of equipment.
So you gotta tell me. So what were some of the experiences that you had with all this process?
Experiences, what kind of experiences? Well, because I'd say the whole thing is an experience, a major experience. You know what I mean? I think we might. You good, man? I think we might have a little lagging right now. I would just say that the major experience, though, I would say that the major experience of the whole thing is going through the writing process, the acting process, the directing process, and figuring out how it all works together. Yeah. We good, man?
All right. Yeah. Oh. All right. We're back. I was
Okay.
sitting. I was wondering
Sorry
what
about
was
that.
going on. I was
No,
sitting. I
I
was
don't know.
like,
It
what
might be a
happened?
connection thing. So where
Hey,
were we at?
I was asking you about school and stuff like that, and I think it literally cut out when you were about to tell me the college that you went
Okay. Yeah, so I went to Finger Lakes Community College. It
to.
was a
Okay.
community college. Um, obviously, uh, basically, I got a communications degree there. Got a lot of great experiences with acting, filmmaking, things like that. I
Hmm.
obviously loved it beforehand, so I really took advantage of the fact that they had a lot of great equipment there and great people who were
Right.
willing to help you out. And it was very good for connections of that kind. Now I only got a 2 year degree. I don't know if I'm going to go back to school or not. I'll have to decide that. I mean, I'm obviously not right now going back to school, but we'll see in the future. I don't know if I want to go for acting or business because, as I said, I'm doing the business thing or what exactly. So
Hmm.
as of right now, I'm just kind of going to see what flies, and we'll go from
Right.
there.
That's pretty cool, man. So what's making you like go back and forth from acting into the business standpoint? Like what's making you basically have that little shift moment? Because like when I used to do professional wrestling. So that's actually what's got me in started with the podcast ordeal is just based off of listening to fellow wrestlers on their podcast,
Right.
just talk about their experiences on the road and everything like that.
Yep.
That's how I learned the business type standpoint. And then
Right.
when I had to let go of that, I came into the podcast world thanks to
Mhm.
obviously with COVID and everything. That was pretty much the only new and updated stuff you could ever see that was not like rerun after rerun. So it was just like, you
Yeah.
know what? Why not take a why not try to swing for the fences, see if I can really do something
Oh,
with
for
this.
sure.
And it's crazy just how much it's grown compared to every time. So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it's just like something that just happened instantly. So what's some of the experiences that you've gotten to where it's like making you go from were you a dead set you wanted to be an actor?
Yeah.
Now you're getting into that business aspect and it's just sitting there it's like, all right, now it's kind of like jerking your chain a little bit. So it's like,
Right.
what's making you go to that team now?
Well, so I'll be honest with you. I still love the acting thing. I still would like to pursue that. The
Uh-huh.
question is, does the piece of paper help you that much, or does practical training, connections, and experience help you?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know a business degree would definitely help me with understanding more of it. Obviously, just in opening a business at all, you make connections, and those people help you understand it more, and they help you make decisions that
Mm-hmm.
you're not prepared to make. Obviously, so we're good as far as that goes. But the question is just, what avenue do I want to pursue more? Butler Media
Mm-hmm.
Productions, or Nigel Butler acting career. You know what I mean? And it's possible to do both, but what's the piece of paper going to say? So we'll see what happens. I'm not so sure. I'll be honest with you. I haven't thought about it too much recently, just because most of my efforts have been going towards uh, both of those things,
Mm-hmm.
separately, but
It's a
also
lot
kind
of
of
time consuming, I'm sure.
exactly. Yeah. And I just want to say congratulations to you for starting that podcast and taking that step because, you know what I mean? That's the only way it gets done, right? And you
Yeah.
obviously had some motivation there, which I think everybody has motivations or inspirations, I guess it is,
Oh,
from other
absolutely.
people and from your peers, especially. So it's
Plus, I
great to
love
hear
to
that.
talk, so I was kind of weird to like when I first heard my first episode, I was like, all right, I really went an hour talking to myself. So literally, I hit publish and everything, man. I went to almost 100 plays the first night. I was like, people are really listening to this thing? Like, what the
Wow.
heck? Like, really?
Wow. That is some instant success. Because I'll tell you the truth, I've
I
heard of
just
all
started
sorts.
doing the video ordeal now, so like
Yeah.
I'm really getting more into that now because
Right.
obviously now it's like, hey, now you need to go up a little bit in the ranks, which I've figured out how to do this thing now where I can do video and audio, so that's been
Yeah.
a lifesaver in ways
Sure.
because I remember that's like a lot of people like to look at. Like some people like to have the
Mhm.
audio version to go in their cars and stuff standpoint,
Yeah.
but visual, that's where it's at now. Everybody's on the YouTube and everything else. So if you ain't on YouTube, apparently you ain't there no more. So I
For
don't
sure.
know.
Well, for sure, and especially with the whole COVID thing, people are looking for entertainment, and we watch talk shows all the time. I mean, as far back as even in the '60s, you had the Carol Burnett and Dean Martin shows, and you think about it, you're sitting there and you're watching somebody sing. That's what you're doing.
Hmm.
Could you listen to it? Yeah, but it's more entertaining if you're watching it. So I think that there is
Absolutely.
definitely what do you say? It's definitely better if you have that other option. I'll say. You know what I mean? I can't think of the wording right now, but it gives you an upper hand. That's it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I would say right now, for me anyway, though, I'm more just pursuing the movies for our own company. We got obviously a
Hmm.
Christmas movie coming out soon, and that's been taking up almost all my time. But after it comes out November 11th, I'll be able to hopefully sit back a little bit and look at my options again. You know what I mean? See what I want
Yeah.
to do. But I love
Hey,
it. I
you
love it.
you gotta explain it. So how long has it took for you to get this idea that you want to do this Christmas film? Because this is based off of your production. This is y'all's film, correct?
Right? Yeah. Written, directed, produced, starring. It's one of those. But it's also an indie film, so I guess that's expected.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
this script came along, I want to say 2 years ago. I thought about it and I wrote it. So a little bit of backstory on me. I love Christmas. It's like my favorite time of the year. It always was. But I don't like too many Christmas movies nowadays because I feel like they're a little repetitive. It's a rom com.
Overused.
Yeah, it's the same story, and
Way overused. Yeah.
yeah, hats off to Hallmark. They nailed it. They found their market, but that's not for me. You know what I mean? I What I watched when I was younger and what I still love to watch is like Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, that kind of a Christmas movie. And
Hmm.
that's the type that I like, and that's the kind I wanted to make. And so I came up with this idea. I mean, it's something I think many of us have thought about. You know, how does Santa deliver gifts to all these people? You know, what I mean, that's literally impossible, especially for us, human beings here, us mortals. So the
Uh-huh.
idea of having normal people try to do it just to 5 houses seemed intriguing to me, and
Hmm.
it worked on paper, and the drafts just kept working because that's usually the process for me anyway. Is obviously
Hmm.
you have your outlines, your ideas, your breakdowns, but if it works on the first writing, um, that's a good sign. If it works the second
Hmm.
time through, you really got something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
by the time the third, fourth, fifth draft hit, we're talking 2 years later now. We're getting closer to last year. I knew it was basically what I wanted to do next. And by that time, we'd had the LLC, so I knew it was possible because we'd already had our show released, and or at least going through the process, wrapping up. You know what I mean? I don't know the
Hmm.
exact timeline, but so I knew it would be possible, and so I reached out to the cast I wanted because I already knew. Joe Monroe plays the co-stars as Andre, and he's a great guy, phenomenal actor, great musician too. By the way, if you get a chance to check out his stuff, he's on Spotify and all that. But in any case, um, he was game, and we really just made it happen. And I think it's a very compelling story. It's about two people who kind of live further away from their family, and they
Hmm.
don't really have many plans for Christmas, if any. And so one night, though, just before Christmas Eve, a few nights before, basically gets a visit from an unusual guest. It's Santa Claus. Plot twist, and he has a request for
Hmm.
help, to help him deliver gifts in the neighborhood, and that's the plot of the film. And I think that it's super. I was
I
first of
saw
all
the trailer.
shocked.
That's pretty neat. It's pretty
Yeah.
neat. I
Well,
will give you that.
what gets me is that it hasn't been done before because it seems to me like something that everybody's thought about. How has nobody
Hmm.
written about it? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who ever thought about it, but it's just such a usual tradition. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
people are taught at a young age, or we talk about Santa Claus delivering gifts to all these people. I don't know who your audience is exactly, so I'm using the right wording here, and I don't know
That's
how we
all.
got
It's usually males. It's usually male aspects. So I mean,
okay.
I don't
So
think you're gonna have it offending to anybody over here.
right, no, I'm just making sure that nobody's a believer in the the quest of Mr. Claus. But in any case, um, yeah, it's about people, two guys trying to deliver gifts to 5 houses, and I think it's pretty crazy, and it's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to film it, and we filmed it in New York, upstate New York, with
Okay.
the suburbs and everything. Beautiful at Christmas time, really cold, but it looks great on camera. And so I'm getting off track a little bit here from how'd you come up with this idea to just all aspects of production. But this is what makes me excited about filmmaking is the whole process, and this
Hmm.
is what made this film fun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So did y'all literally just go upstate New York to film the movie?
No, no, that's where our company's based. That's where we were, and
Okay.
that's where the cast was. So yeah, it was locally filmed in upstate New York, but it just provided the perfect setting because you know I don't see too many Christmas movies filmed down south. I guess was all I was getting at is the fact that we had the perfect aesthetic there. You know what I mean? It had a great look to it.
Hmm.
Everything was decked out for Christmas, and we had a lot of trees around us, pine trees. It
Right.
just
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it offered a great setting. You know what I mean for filming. That's all I was getting at. And also, I like the neighborhood setting for delivering gifts because that's usually where it's pictured. You know what I mean? So it
Hmm.
really just worked with the lore of Christmas and Santa Claus, and it worked out for our production needs.
So you were explaining about certain type of Christmas films. My favorite one, and still is Jingle All the Way. I love the
Yeah,
one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold. Yeah,
Uh, I just went to a store recently and saw a Turbo Man in there, so I thought that
really.
was pretty neat. Like, yeah, and it was like literally the exact same one I used to have when I was like 7 years old. So I was a big
Wow.
fan of that movie. I mean, it was pretty cool just to see how that aspect was and just how you could relate to that kid based off
Mhm.
the movie. Like, hey man, I want that toy. I want that Turbo Man. Like, that's the superhero type
And
scenario.
then when you get
I
older,
love
you
just
relate to you
Oh,
relate to
I
the
still
other
watch
guy.
it. Like I make a pack. I at least got to watch it once every year. I like how you say Christmas movies are way overdone every single year. My wife has to watch The Grinch. My wife has to watch all these little romantic ones all the time. And I'm
Yeah,
just sitting there, I'm like, ugh. Like we've watched three of them and they're literally the same aspect. Like what's new? Like I've had some guys on here before talking about movie producers and stuff, and I was like, I always pitch an idea. I was like, would you do if you got a Christmas film? Would it be like a Meet Family Guy type Christmas film?
yeah,
Like, you know how big of a hit that could be. But then they're like, with the world we're in now, you don't know who you would offend, basically, just
right.
doing a movie like that. So it's just
Mhm.
like, man, gummit, we ain't got no fun around here no more. Like, it's just those little aspects. Like, it's kind of like Thanksgiving too. Like, there's certain holidays you can't really mess around with when it comes to a movie for those holidays
Yeah,
because the way of the world we live in now. So
for sure.
I
Well, I tried a couple times to like I said, I also write movies. I've tried many times to write a Thanksgiving movie, and it doesn't click. And I think the reason why is because it's such a I don't want to say it's a serious holiday, but it is. It's
hmm
pretty 2D. Like what is
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
We don't have any movies that we base our because one of the great things about making a Christmas movie is everyone has an idea of what a Christmas movie is. So when you break that expectation, it automatically sticks with people. Um,
hmm
you don't have that with a Thanksgiving movie. You have nothing to compare it to. You have nothing to market it with. You know what I mean? It's basically would just be on its own. And then at that point, it's just kind of a normal comedy film, and it loses the holiday feel. I do have to go
Right,
back to
yeah.
something you said. I do like the Grinch. I just have to say that I'm not a fan of the other ones you were talking about, but the Grinch, it does have a place in my
I could
heart.
watch The Grinch now that I got two kids and all that. Like
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
watch The Grinch and all that, but gosh, have mercy, all those Hallmark movies, I can't stand it. And of
Well, what's
course, they
crazy,
start it right at Thanksgiving.
or in
Oh my
July,
goodness.
Christmas in July, right?
I was about to ask you, are you one of those type of people like literally celebrating Christmas in July now?
Well, no, but this year I was because I've been working on this movie since last
Hmm.
Christmas when we started filming. So this year I'm pretty tired with Christmas already. I Because if you
And
think
we're
about it,
about to be there.
I'm the Grinch, no, no. Well, we are. We got. If you look at it though, we actually got like 2 months and 20 days or something like that. It's
It's
crazy
sickening.
because
It's sickening.
but you think about it, I was writing Christmas music and finding other people to write Christmas songs and all that way back in the summer. Actually, I was that guy. You know what I mean? So it's I have a feeling after Christmas hits, I'm gonna have a long summer. It's just gonna start as soon as Christmas is
It's gonna be
over.
a straight hibernation, like
That's
literally.
right.
You
Yeah,
can't say nothing that starts with a C for a good year.
that's right. That's right.
So
But what's up?
so what helps you get ready for the write those stories? Like what kind of mindset do you have to get in to be able to write a film like that?
For film and TV is a little different. I noticed while writing Problems Higher Up actually. I just noticed that in the thing. But in any case, um, when writing TV or our show anyway, it's a lot easier to just kind of throw the characters into a scenario because you already know the characters. So if I
Mhm.
put two characters, let's say I put the characters of Nick and Zach in an amusement park, I know how they're going to react to every situation I throw at them, so I can throw
Right.
anything at them and know that they'll recover. with
Mhm.
a movie that's newly written, like Secret Santa was, you know what I mean? The first draft, I don't know the characters until I break down the story. And I don't even know
Mhm.
the story until I break down the characters. So you got to give and take a little bit. My character's name is Ted, and Joe Monroe's character is Andre, and Santa Claus is Santa Claus. So let's take Santa Claus for an example. He was kind of the key idea of how I was going to base this off of, or set the other characters around, I guess.
Mhm.
Even though he's, you know what I mean, not the lead, he's in it quite a bit. Um,
Right.
what version of Santa Claus do I want to do? Because there have been so many versions of Santa, or do I want to do my own? And
Mhm.
once you find that, then you've got one character, one of the three um, most recurring, I guess. So then deciding on Ted, well, who is Ted? Why would he accept this offer from Santa Claus to deliver? Like, doesn't he have stuff to do? So that tells you something about him right off the bat. He doesn't have stuff to do, or he's going through a
Mhm.
midlife crisis. So you kind of break down the characters, and then you can throw them in these different houses or scenes in general, because there are other scenes. It's not just a 90-minute movie taking place of them breaking into houses. But once you break down who the characters are, you can understand how they're going to react to certain settings,
Mhm.
what their mindset's going to be, and that also goes into, I have an upper hand when it goes into the acting side of things because I already know my character. You know what I mean? I just have to
Mhm.
learn to embody him instead of just understand him. So yeah, I would say that the whole writing process, you have to love the story and love the characters you're talking about. And
Mhm.
in order for you to love them, you have to know them. Well, not
Right.
always true, but to an extent, for you to actually understand how they would react and write a compelling story, you need to
Oh,
understand the
absolutely.
characters. So it really does have to be developed to an extent before you realize if your movie is good or bad. For me, anyway. Obviously,
Mhm.
there are probably a million writing processes out there, but you got to find what works for you. And
Right.
that's what works for me anyway, is figuring out the characters, and then I'll find out if the movie works or not. I've had some film ideas that I think are the best thing ever, but then when I can't find a character, or even I can't relate to a character or an element of the story, it's not going to have a personable feel because even the writer wasn't related to it. You know what I mean? So we've had our fair share of those.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I mean, I've had my fair share in wrestling. Like I thought, hey man, this could make YouTube top 500 type scenario, and it's just like, probably wasn't that great. Like it's just those little things. Like you're your own critic, and that's how. And I tell people that's really how you know you can really have a good,
Mhm.
what I call this personality call a dog. Like basically you have that determination to keep striving every single time, regardless of
Right.
the bumps, the bruises, whatever. You still know how to pick yourself back up and revamp type scenario.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
And then also,
yeah,
I would go further to say that you're also um, a backbone of your own support. So
exactly.
when you sit down to not sit down to do a wrestling match, but when I sit down to write, when I sit down to write, I want this to succeed. I want this story to work. And I would say it's the same thing for you with the wrestling. You want it to turn out well. So you are looking for the
You don't get
positive.
a take two though.
That's right. Yeah. If you don't care, but you know what I mean, though. Like you also, it's give and take a little bit, and you got to decide what
Hmm.
exactly, not decide, but figure out what works for you, what's the process, and how can you push yourself through it without forcing it, of course. But
Hmm. Right. I gotta know. So, what was some of the so your experiences as an actor? Like, talk about it. Talk
all right.
about some of the crazy experiences that you and are you? I'm pretty sure now, knowing you have your own company, it's so to be an actor because I've heard numerous things how tough it is to live that actor lifestyle.
So I would say that I am still young in the game, so my perspective is
Hmm.
limited. As I
Right.
was doing only acting, it was a lot of stage stuff, and it was a lot of, while I was in high school, whether it was a high school show or not, I was still at that age. So it was never like, this is my career. I got to get a job or
Hmm.
else I'm not going to eat tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, it was
Right. Right.
never that acting lifestyle, which you're right is difficult. And I've talked to people who have done that, and some who've done well, some who haven't, and it's a lot of it is, I hate to say it, but a lot of it is circumstance. And that's
Hmm.
why I'm a huge advocate of you make your own opportunities. In some scenarios, obviously, I do believe in God and I do believe He, helps those opportunities and He's helped me for sure. But I would say that since starting this company, I still work another job because the company I put a lot of money into it and it hasn't quite turned over yet. But
Oh yeah.
it's um it's only been a little over a year since it's been open, so we're
Okay.
starting to see a little bit of a dip. Hopefully, it won't just crash and burn after this movie flops, but but you know what I mean. Uh, so we'll see. It's definitely um fulfilling as far as acting goes to be able
Hmm.
to still act and tell stories, especially during the pandemic when everything was shut down. Guess who
Right.
wasn't shut down from working on his movies? You know what I mean? Because I could still go through the writing stage, the editing stage, or even if we were filming, we have very small casts anyway. We can fit within those guidelines. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So things like that definitely helped it work out and helped everything to run smoothly overall. And I would say that working as an actor inside your own productions can be very fulfilling in getting done what you want to get done. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If you want to perform a certain character, you can obviously if the script doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you can try to make that happen rather than
Hmm.
just, man, I wonder if any casting calls today for this character or this story I want to tell or this type of genre. You know, you have a little bit
Hmm.
more creative liberty.
So the group that you had filming this movie are those the main ones that are always in all your movies?
So that's a good question. Actually, we've had a obviously when you talk movies, I'm thinking mainly our big two productions, which are Secret Santa, Christmas Adventure, which comes out November 11th. I don't know if I said that yet, so I had to. And then Problems Higher Up, which is the show we just did the first season of, and we have a second season coming out in January. For Problems Higher Up, we had a very good cast, and we utilized a good portion of them inside this Christmas film. For instance, Joe Monroe, who plays Andre on in Secret Santa, he was a guest spot on the third episode of season one of Problems Higher Up, but he's not a recurring character, if that makes sense. So I would say yes and
Hmm.
no. It depends on the character. We have Matt Easley, who plays, or Matthew Easley, I think he's credited as. He plays Zach on Problems Higher Up. He also has a smaller role inside Secret Santa. So definitely to an extent, but then we also pull new cast members in this production, and obviously
Hmm.
people's availability does have an effect on what roles they play and things like
Right.
that. So I'll say yes and no.
Obviously with COVID and stuff like that, has it helped easier for the scheduling on this and basically getting it all prepared and ready to go, or has it been a lot more challenging?
I would say with COVID, when it first, we were filming inside a church for Problems Higher Up. And the fact that the church had no operations going on definitely helped us find times we could film in that church. So I'm not going to say I'm grateful for that, but I'm allowed to be grateful for that aspect of it. I think that the scheduling wasn't
Absolutely.
difficult with the building. As far as Secret Santa goes, we filmed this last winter, Christmas
Hmm.
time, and mostly on weekends. Um, and it's kind of mixed depending on the location. So
Hmm.
I mean, you're not going to have a hard time. There's a scene that takes place at 6 o'clock at night. Well, at 6 o'clock at night in winter, it's all dark anyway. So we
Hmm.
actually filmed it at like 11 o'clock at night on, the hill by some library. Nobody was there. You know what I mean? Which is great. So I don't think COVID had that much of an effect on that. You know what I mean? At all.
Hmm.
So it really depends on the location and it depends on the operations of that business or organization. Because like I say, we filmed in a church. Well, if it's not Sunday morning, chances are you can find an area of that building to film in. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Hmm.
it depends. It helped in some respects, I'll say.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome, man. So you just mentioned something about TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are some challenges that you've had filming TV shows compared to what you going into the movie ordeals?
To be honest, the TV show was actually infinitely easier than the film. And even though there's more content overall, it's because after you get a certain number of takes or days into it, everybody
Hmm.
knows their character. If you drop
Right.
a line, you know your character, you can pick it up. With a film, I could be showing up and I'm doing a scene with Joe Monroe, and we've done uh, 3 days of filming beforehand. We know our characters
Hmm.
before we show up on the first one, obviously, because that's that's your job. That's what we do. But
Right.
then we have somebody new come in. We don't necessarily have the dynamics with that character, even if we know the actor, even if it is Matthew Easley from Problems Higher Up. We still don't know how do we relate to his character
Hmm.
here. You know what I mean? So I would say that the show is a lot easier as far as acting goes. But as far as
Hmm.
a technical aspect goes, it is a lot more runtime and it's a lot more to get done. So it did present that challenge to us. And each episode's different. So costume changes, even if you're filming a scene from episode 5 and a scene from episode 2 and a scene from episode 3, you better make sure you're pulling out that character calendar and figuring out
Right.
what
Yeah.
costumes you're supposed to be wearing, and you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, it can get difficult that way too. And there's actually, I'll be honest, uh, I'm gonna say it. Inside season 1, there are some scenes where you can see the character of Alex, who's played by Joseph Asalo, who does a great job, by the way. But he has a beard and a full head of hair. Not a full head of hair, but he has hair. And he looks over, sees my character isn't at his desk, and he goes down the stairs. And when he walks through the door down the stairs, something happened to his hair because suddenly he's got like a buzz cut. It's all buzzed down, and I'm shocked. Only like 2 people mentioned it to me. You know what I mean? People I know personally, but there are all sorts of issues like that in the show that I don't want to call out, but they're there, they're evident. Or you'll
Hmm.
see slightly the character's hair changes or something. Oh, it grew because they filmed this 2 weeks apart. You know what I mean? And it's pretty
Hmm.
obvious. So yeah, a lot of continuity issues that way in the first season, but you learn from your mistakes, and I don't think we have that at all. I don't think inside our Christmas film. Um, now someone's going to call me out on it, but for the most part, I don't think we have anything.
Right. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool to know about that much about a TV show and stuff like that. So you kind of just answered almost my next question. Have you ever had a character that was hard to portray as?
Oh, me as an actor,
Hmm.
definitely, many times, and not always for my productions because. So, I mean, sometimes for my productions, but if I'm writing them, for the most part, I understand the scenes even better than other people on the set who are playing those
Hmm.
characters. Whether or not my interpretation of the scene comes through, that's a different story. But I feel
Hmm.
as though I understand the character's mindset because I wrote them. Not always true because sometimes you come across a line, you're like, well, the way I've been playing the character, the rest of the movie doesn't work for this, so now I have to interpret it differently. But as far as the hardest characters to interpret, it would be stage stuff I've done that wasn't written by me, where everybody's already got an idea of how this character acts, and you're trying to understand the character but have your own interpretation of him. That's been my most difficult time. As far as like film or even short film scripts. I've done short films for other people too, or student films, things like that. That's always fairly, um, I don't want to say easy, but at least I can look at the script ahead of time, decide on how my character is, and create it from scratch rather than a character
Hmm.
from Fiddler on the Roof, which has been a show for how many years. And you know what I mean? People have already seen it. And on top of that, you're
Yeah.
trying to do accents and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's definitely, yeah, I've had challenges in the past and in the present, but that's all part of the process. And that's part of what makes it fun. If I was good at it every
Hmm.
time, there'd be no point in continuing to try, right?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that, man. Phew. I've had my challenges. I remember when I first decided when I started wanting to wrestle, I never
Yeah.
planned on working wrestling in a mask because obviously in our eyes we've always seen a masked wrestler like, oh, so they're gonna be jumping and doing all that flippy stuff. I don't flip like that.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
literally, so I kind of changed it up a little bit. I did some, but I didn't do like all that. Like you see all the
Right.
somersaults and all that, but it's like you had to really get in tune to find that character. And that's one thing I had trouble when I first started wrestling was obviously we only had one USA wrestler that everybody remembered, the Patriot. So I'd watch so much film of him, even though it's back then wrestling film, you're just sitting there
Right.
like, what do I need to do to be different than that? So instead of carrying the American flag, I wore it on my gloves. Um, my mask,
Right. Make it
I
your
had my
own.
eyes covered. I had my eyes covered. So literally, it was a little bit of a different type of aspect because I didn't like the mask that literally like your eyes are still showing. I'm like, you're supposed to be a different person, like show
Right.
everything completely covered. So it was just those little things like I really was really in tune to trying to fix to
Right.
make that character. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how much it grew and how much it was a blast and everything else. When I look back and I'm
Mhm.
like, that really was okay jumping off of ladders and everything, like no problem. Because myself, Warren Marlowe, is afraid of heights. So in my mindset, I was like if I had to wrestle a show, say like in my hometown area stuff, I
Right.
wanted to make it where people even question are like, that's not Warren up there. Like that is no
Yeah.
way he just did what he just did. And literally, sometimes I even have my family that goes to all my shows literally go, are you wrestling tonight? Like, are you that guy still? Like, what the heck? You just did that. I know doggone well you wouldn't even do that. You give us crap about going on a roller coaster, let alone jump off of that. Like that's one thing that just amazed me from it. But that was
Yeah.
one way I had to literally change the game type scenario, change my perspective, and like because I saw it like a superhero, man. I saw it like
Hmm.
Warren Marlowe is like a Clark Kent. AP was like Superman. Like those were two different personalities. So it was just like my like locked in personality, like I like to call it.
So did you realize that the different personalities you took on after a while, you weren't like, let's say one of them isn't scared of heights. You weren't scared of heights while being that character. Would you say that's true
Hmm
for you, or you know what I mean?
It
You
was
got
like
used
a
to them.
hat, like say like if I was on a ladder, and
Right.
as right now, if I was climbing on a ladder, I probably wouldn't be on the fifth step. But my other character, I dang near ready to jump off. Like it's just some way
Yeah.
I had a mindset to it. And like sometimes even when I think it was like my second year in wrestling, you know how like you go in the mall and they have those escalators up, you're just looking down like, well, I think I could catch that fall. Like somehow
Yeah.
I think I could catch that fall. Like some of this stuff, like that's just how your mindset was on some of the stuff because you couldn't second guess this stuff. Like if you did it,
Right.
you're doing it. You're not climbing
Right.
all the way up there with everybody looking at you going, don't think he's jumping. Yeah, I ain't got no choice. Better
And it
catch me.
doesn't. What's crazy is it doesn't look that tall to the viewer, and you're standing up there
And
on that
don't.
ladder, and you're like,
Oh my
"Wow,
lord.
I'm about to jump."
Oh my gosh. Every time I jumped, I had my eyes closed. Like there was no way I was looking down. Like I looked down one time and my mask is covered, so I'm looking down. I'm like, that guy looks like an ant, and I gotta jump on him in this. Like, uh, hopefully he
Not
catches.
really feeling it.
That's awesome. But
Well,
talk
we
about.
actually, yeah. What's up?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, we actually have a scene inside Secret Santa where I'm like you. I hate heights. I don't
Hmm
want to go to the fifth step, fourth step, any step of any ladder. But there's a scene in the movie where I have to climb up onto a roof, and
hmm
I'm trying to put a ladder between two houses to get across and go over into the other house's chimney. It's an elaborate scene, but you know, if you watch the movie, you'll get it. But in any case, when I got on that roof, there was so much snow up there, and I'm already scared of heights that you could feel your feet, or then even when I kneeled down, you were
hmm
sliding constantly. So
hmm
I was constantly crawling up the roof, and I actually had to hang on to a windowsill at one point because it was just so steep, and it was so, you know, and we're talking, this roof was like 10 feet high, you know, and then the other one we
Oh
filmed on
my
for the wide
goodness.
shots was still definitely a little over 8, you know, so it was not fun for me. I was horrified. I can't imagine jumping off. So hats off to you for doing that. You know, definitely
Word of
embodied.
advice:
Yeah.
I would take a nice little bottle of pre-workout before I went out to the ring. That's literally how that's how I was
Oh, it
ever
was
gonna be able to
freezing
do
too. There was
anything.
nothing was gonna save me, not even pre-workout, but
Caffeine is gonna be your friend for something like that.
it's true. It's true.
Just
But it's
scraping
all
the
good.
snow out of there, you know.
Yeah. Well, for you, it's like as long as I make the jump in the end. For me, it's as long as we get the shot. And at the end of the day, we got the shot. I didn't die, so we're happy.
How many takes did it take?
Um, well, it took 2 different days on 2 different roofs. One for the close-ups, when I'm up there,
Hmm
and then one for when I climb up there and I'm talking down to my associate Andre, who is Joe Monroe's character. But So 2 takes. Wasn't too thrilled about the second one because that roof was even higher up and it was steeper. And that was the one I was hanging onto a windowsill or a rope or something, just to keep me there. But the first take wasn't, it was bad once I got up there at least. And I planted myself and I was able to stay still. Once you start shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, you're talking in between takes, got a little bit more casual. But I still was just too happy to step on that ladder again and start going down because, yeah. That's
That's
definitely
it. I'm
the way I
done.
wanted to get down.
I love it. So, who played your Santa Claus?
Eric Rogers does. He's an actor who's been inside some of our short films before. He did some
Okay.
stage beforehand, but I think he does a phenomenal job and he's hilarious. Once you see the type of Santa Claus he's playing, he just nails it. He nails it. I don't even want to compare it to anything I've seen before in film because I'm not sure I have seen anything like it before in film. And that's not me trying to pat myself on the back. It's just me saying it's a different take, a new take. I didn't want it to just be the usual Santa, and I didn't want it to be
Yep.
like a cartoon Santa that happens. You know what I mean? So I wanted it to be its own thing, and I think we got that. And Eric Rogers does a great job. So he plays Santa, and man, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Santa Claus is on the movie set, right?
Mm-hmm. So is this like are you basically going to be making more Christmas films going on into the future, or is this really
Um,
going to be your testing moment?
So to be honest, I like all kinds of films. We did a sitcom and then we did this Christmas comedy, and we're doing season 2 of the sitcom. So really, we're looking at more dramatic or serious stuff. I would like to do some non-stereotypical scary films in the future, but the hard part about that is whenever I go to write it, it's stereotypical, and I'm not going to make a movie that you can predict the next scene. Like not as a writer anyway. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
put my name on that as the writer of this. So I'd really like to do something different. As far as Christmas work goes, years and years ago, before we even had a company, for 2 years in a row, we did what we called a Butler Christmas special, I believe. And it's basically just I narrate some jokes in between, and we do some Christmas sketches.
Mm-hmm.
Sketch comedy, much like you see on SNL or the Dean Martin show or something like that.
Right.
And we did that for 2 years. And then last year we had a company and we were working on this movie. And then problems higher up, we actually did a Christmas episode. So I'm done with Christmas. Like I'm so done with this past year. Like even now, we've sent it in to our DVD distributors, the movie, but we're still working on the problems higher up Christmas episode. So I'm just waiting to, get it all out of the way. And I would not like to be the writer or director of any Christmas films in the future. If it's just the actor, I can do that because that's going to take
There you go.
5 weeks tops, probably. You know what I mean? It's not like
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be dedicating a year and a half of my life to Christmas, So, it's getting a
The
little,
Christmas actor.
yeah, that's right. At that point, I might as well just go get a job at Hallmark, right?
Yeah. Hey, that. Hey, they take indie films, obviously. Like, gosh, all those
That's
money.
right. And you know what? Hats off to them. Those actors, I mean, they're doing what they love and they got a good gig going for them because they don't have to travel the world if they don't want to. They can.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like working a 9 to 5 job, you know what I mean? But you get to act still in film. So if that's what you want
Right.
to do, hats off to you. I have the utmost respect for you and I wish you the best. But that's not me right now anyway. You know what I mean? That's not who I am. I don't think I could just do Christmas movies all the time. I could do a
Oh
lot because I
no.
love Christmas movies, but not this time consuming. I
Yeah.
told you what 2 3 years ago I wrote the script for this, so it's been a while.
It's been a long overdue, basically, type
That's
scenario.
right. That's right. But I think this was the perfect time to release it too, and the perfect time to film it was last year, just with everything that was going on in the
Mm-hmm.
company's life. And I think that this is a great first film for us to start on. I think a lot of people are going to like it if they hear about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, it, to basically get the viewers in tune, get them prepared for this movie,
Right.
how are you going to sell it to the people why they need to go see this movie?
Oh well, if you love Christmas, this is your movie. Okay, if you love Santa Claus, this is your movie. If you love gifts, this is your movie. This is a new Christmas movie, I think, that really captures old Christmas movies. You mentioned Jingle All the Way. That's also one of my favorites. I have it on a shelf over there. I probably won't watch any Christmas movies this year. No, I'm kidding. I will, but you know what I mean. But I definitely think that this has a an old Christmas movie kind of a feel. I think it's
Hmm.
very I don't want to say original because it makes me sound really pompous, but I think it is. I think it is a new storyline, and I think it's something that we can all relate to. And I think it does have a lot of heart for being what it is. I think it really it carries that Christmas feeling that most Christmas movies are supposed to give you, and I think it executes it pretty well. Especially once you get into really knowing the characters throughout the movie. I just have to say thanks again to all the cast and to my brother who edited the movie, did a phenomenal job with cutting it together and really giving it the emotions that a movie like this needs to have. So everybody did a great job, and I think we have a great product in the end. I'm really proud of it, and I'm super happy because it sounds like it's going to be going to DVD, and it'll definitely be
Oh
going to
wow!
Vimeo. Yeah,
Congratulations on that.
thank you, thank you.
Congrats
This is
on
our
that,
first
man.
production to go to DVD, so it's looking like that's going to happen, and you know, I don't know when pre-order for that will be up, but I know that the film itself is releasing on November 11th on streaming.
Okay.
And then after that, I'm sure it'll go to more and more platforms, you know what I mean, as this unravels. But yeah, I mean, that's my pitch. We've got it's pretty prominent on the internet. If you just look up Secret Santa a Christmas Adventure, you'll get trailers or our IMDb page or articles written, you know what I mean, that basically go over the summary of the movie and things like that. And so you can definitely see if it's for you. I think it's for anybody who likes Christmas, quite honestly, because that's who I am. I think I'm an everyday guy who likes Christmas and wrote this movie and now
Hmm.
hates Christmas. No, I'm kidding. But but it's just that.
Turn into the Grinch.
That's right. Exactly. We'll do Scrooge next. It'll be good.
Oh, hey, there you go. Highly recommend maybe a summer film coming up, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not kidding. And quite honestly, I'd like to do a drama, a good drama with a lot of heart. Like you don't see a whole lot of those kinds of drama films nowadays. The ones I'm thinking of are kind of adventure films more so, like Back to the Future.
Hmm.
Very
Okay.
creative, but you can't call it an action movie. It's definitely not a horror. It's not a comedy. It's got a lot of heart to it, and it's an intriguing story. And that's the kinds of movies I like are movies that make you care about the characters, and you feel like at the end of the day, not only you have a new friend on the screen, but also you've had a new experience in a sense. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Nothing against other kinds of films. I like a good scary movie, and scary films can do that too. Action films can do that. You know what I mean? So, but that's just the kind of movie I want to make, no matter what genre I go into.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool, man. So, obviously, we're gonna have to finish it off with this. What does
Right.
the future hold for you, man? What does the future hold for you as an actor, producer, all these great achievements that you got? A huge shout out to you on possibly getting a DVD out of this film. I know
Yeah.
that's got to be very time consuming, and that tells you how much of that hard work that you put in. Now it's
Yeah.
paying off.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I'd say as far as the future's concerned, time will tell. Um, God already knows, so that's for sure. But I mean, we're gonna have Problems Higher Up season 2 coming out in January. That's
Hmm.
the slate right now, and I play Nick on that show. And that season's gonna have a good number of episodes. I think it's 5 right now, but they're all almost done being filmed. So as soon as I'm done filming that, we'll see what happens next. I recently went through a change in location. I moved down south a little ways here, so we'll see what happens as far as networking goes and future opportunities. But time will tell. And I've definitely got a great Christmas movie I can always be proud of, if nothing else. You know what I mean? And Problems Higher Up, which I am very, very pleased with. So
That's
I just want to
awesome.
wish you the best luck with everything you're doing, but particularly with this show. This is a great atmosphere, and I truly enjoyed being on.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate you doing this. This was really fun. This was really
Yeah.
cool chat. I was looking forward to this because I was like I haven't had a Christmas chat yet, so this one would be pretty neat. Like, and I watched the trailer. It was really good, man.
Oh,
And
good.
I agreed. Like the Santa's a lot of a different flow than most films that I've seen
Right.
in
He's
many,
not.
many, 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 many years ago. You know, it's like literally, if you want a holiday that is perfect for reruns, Christmas is it.
Yeah.
Christmas is the movie to get your royalties for any old film that you have had in the past.
Well, I mean,
Literally.
there's that, but then there's also the fact that studios don't make Christmas movies anymore.
Yeah.
There might be one or two a year, but they just don't, and there's such a huge demand for them, and a lot of people love them, but they don't like the stigma that's happened. And I think if we
Hmm.
can break that stigma and show people that this is something new, then we'll have a great Christmas classic on our hands.
Yep, I agree, man. Nigel, I appreciate you doing this, man. Do you want any final shout outs? Um, social media accounts and for everyone to follow you. Also, guys, we're gonna post the link of the trailer of Secret Santa right below the link when we finally publish this episode. I appreciate you doing this, man. This was totally fun.
Well, thank you for having me. And if you want more information on anything I'm working on, my Instagram is it's Nigel Butler, ITS, and then my name, Nigel Butler. Or you can follow Butler Media Productions on Instagram, Facebook, or just our YouTube. And you can see what we've been working on. So thank you again, Warren. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Nigel, I appreciate this and hope you have a good rest of your night, man.
Hey, you too. Take it easy, okay?
All right, later.